Okay, now we can get started with some tools. One of the tools I like the most is this simple loop tool. This tool is from Kemper Tools. Almost all the tools that I use are wood and steel, and they are from the Kemper Tool Company. K-E-M-P-E-R. So the first thing I'm going to do is just start blending some of these forms together. So you'll notice that I use a few different techniques. I kind of take down form with it, and I also blend forms together by rolling the loop end over the forms like this. And it gives more of a kind of under the skin effect as opposed to this. See that? How nice that looks as you blend those together. Now I'm probably going to leave the jeans area fairly rough because it doesn't need to be hyper rendered. I'm going to go over with the loop tool, but I'm not going to render it quite the way I'm going to render the upper body. Now let's do this again. You'll see I've laid down the abdominal muscles in these little kind of slight, subtle, soft, circly, square things. Now I'm going to take the loop and I'll blend them in. One of the things that I see often in beginning sculptors' work also is a tendency to over-define the muscles and to make them almost cartoony. And I think it's very, very important to, in order to establish realism, to make the muscles very subtle. Remember that no matter how lean or defined something is, there's going to be a layer of fat over the muscles. Not only that, but especially when you're sculpting a creature, there's a tendency to make those muscles so extreme that it looks as if it's on a fat-free diet or something. Your monster should not look like it works out at LA Fitness all the time. It should look as if it's out eating kids, and therefore should have uneven definition. There should be fatty deposits and whatnot. Every angle of your sculpture should be exciting. It doesn't necessarily have to be flexed or in motion, but it should always be interesting to look at. Sculpture is a three-dimensional medium, thus every dimension of it must be exciting to look at, interesting and eye-catching. Where maquettes are so valuable in terms of a clay sculpture are the spontaneity that is so evident in the work. And a feeling that you are seeing something that is very much alive, that for some reason hand sculpting something lends much more of a kind of dynamism, spontaneity, and life to sculpted pieces, whereas I have not yet seen something that is a digital output that is seemed as dynamic and alive. I've seen some things that are pretty amazing and that seem very detailed and rendered, but it doesn't have the same quality of spontaneous life that actual clay sculpture has. Yes, it is true that ZBrush can resize, reshape, and repose things on the fly and very, very quickly and efficiently. And that's terrific for the film pipeline. However, when it comes to the spontaneity of genuine creation, nothing holds a candle to actually sculpting. Nothing that I've seen yet. So as you can see, I'm still going around refining all the muscle forms, blending some together, carving in, adding a little where necessary. The whole point now is to get the form homogeneous and make it all feel like it's under the skin. All this anatomy, all the bone structure, all of it. So I'm using this tool primarily, almost exclusively, to do everything. Another little tool that I like is this Kemper tool, which has a very fine loop on it. And you can use it to even further blend together forms on a very, very fine scale. For now, I'm sticking with the fairly large loop tool, and I'm still just blending together all the forms that I laid down earlier. So sometimes I even use the flat end of the loop for large expanses that I want to get quite smooth. The back of the neck is one of those areas. Sometimes, to get into very, very tight areas like these little tendons, I will use the back end of my standard loop tool, which has a curved wooden end to it. And it can be great for blending these little areas together. You'll see sometimes there are little divots or imperfections in the shape of the muscle. I just go in there and I fill them in to restore them to perfection.